Estate for Real Brokers podcast. I'm Jeffery Padesky here with the JP Group at Real. I have my awesome team member, Bo. Bo, a little bit about yourself.
I go by Bo. Name's actually Alex Bohanick, but Bo sticks, and that's what everyone calls me. Been working with Jeff now for a couple of years, loving it, and we're just here to help our clients.
Yeah, and today, we're starting it off pretty loose. This is our first podcast of many to come. And, we thought a good way to start it off, we're both realtors here in the Chicagoland area, and we want to talk about why Chicago is the spot to move, why the suburbs is the spot to be, and just some of the fun stuff that we're seeing in different neighborhoods that makes it, makes sense to invest your money here, to live here, to raise your family here. So that's going to be our starting topic here for today. I know we both have a ton to talk about on this subject. But Bo, do you have a favorite neighborhood or favorite area you think is, the spot to be right now?
I mean, in the Chicagoland area in general, there's definitely a lot you could pick from. I'm a little biased being from St. Charles and living in St. Charles in the Geneva area. So like for me, I really enjoy downtown Geneva because you have shops, restaurants, kind of all sorts of.
That Rivertown is nice.
Yeah, you can basically do anything you want. And then same with St. Charles, there's 20 different restaurants and bars within walking distance. So I'm biased to that area, and there's a reason why others are too. You're seeing multiple offers. Homes sell very quickly if they're move-in ready and even renovation. So that would probably be my go-to at the moment. And I think kind of short/long term, you have the Arlington Heights area, even pushing out here a little bit more west. You're just seeing a lot of that traffic drive from the city out.
Yeah, and well, we're in Algonquin right now shooting this podcast at our office, 321 Jefferson. Here in Algonquin, got a great space if you ever want to come over and say hi or be one of our guests on this. But yeah, the St. Charles, Geneva, you're on the river. We're on the river. Mm-hmm. We're another river town. We're not as great as St. Charles and Geneva, but Algonquin's definitely up and coming. We've got a lot of new restaurants. We've got a lot of new bars. We've got Randall Road, which has absolutely everything on it. Mm-hmm. And you can take Randall Road all the way to Geneva and St. Charles, and all along that road is everything that you'd want to be. Shopping, restaurants, everything. So even though, yes, we are west, we're in the suburbs, we're not downtown in the city, you have everything you need right here. So, and on top of that too, the new infrastructure, the updated schools, affordability is still pretty good. Mm-hmm. I know that's a problem with Geneva, St. Charles, is affordability getting out of hand for first-time buyers.
Affordability out there is very out of hand. It's at the point now where the starter homes for the area are pushing 500,000, 600,000. So
yeah,
the affordability is definitely an issue, but you are seeing a lot more people on their second or third home, part of that process, moving to St. Charles and Geneva after they had their townhomes or smaller homes elsewhere. So that would definitely be the biggest problem in sense of that whole marketplace.
Yeah, and that's how we fix affordability is, not pushing you on your first home to buy that 600,000, but saying, hey, buy this townhome, fix it up a little bit, gain some equity, potentially sell it and then upgrade, or rent it out, cash flow, and then buy your next house. Don't go all in on your dream home on the first one. That's where as realtors, we actually have to give that advice to people. Buy the townhome, buy the condo first, and then slowly work up from there.
Well, especially if you look more west. A lot of those more developing towns like Hampshire and Gilberts and Pingree Grove, I mean, they're putting up new construction there basically every corner that they can. But those are areas that you can get a starter home, build equity once they finish building. You could add some value to your home, and then you have something to kind of build off of while also not having to deal with, fixing a roof or furnace blows out. Typically in a newer home, townhome, doesn't matter. You have a lot less cost to incur.
Exactly. Yeah. Less cost with the new build, tons of incentives. There's a lot going on there that really helps first-time buyers. And then, with the new build, you get in early on a development. As the community develops and gets built up, it should have some more equity there when you go to sell it or rent it or move on to your next home. So that makes sense. We do have a lot of new builds out here where a lot of other areas, specifically Mount Prospect, Des Plaines, Arlington Heights, Buffalo Grove, Schaumburg, Hoffman, they're kind of landlocked to where instead of building new builds that are affordable, the existing homes just get more and more pricey. Because you were just on that listing appointment in Hoffman, and we were talking, those homes used to be $200,000 in 17, 18, 19.
Yeah, not even 10 years ago.
And now what, you're going to list for $4? So
yeah, even 5 years ago, the equity on that home is up like 160,000.
160,000 equity in a couple of years. So that's where, as realtors, we'll help you guys figure out where to put your money now as a smart investment. So when you are ready to buy your next home, we can, sell it, have 200,000 extra in equity to put into your next property to try to keep that payment the same, but your house much better. But with the suburbs pricing being so high, one thing we're seeing is the city right now has still been declining. RTO, return to office, is at 30%. It hasn't really come back, which is nice. I can get around in the city. I can find parking. I can get into a restaurant. But it's 1990s prices. Homes have been on the market 300-400 days. And it's a really good buyer's market. And there's a lot of opportunities that people aren't seeing in the city. But when you're seeing the city, what are people talking about?
Yeah, I mean, that's where you're seeing more of like the national trend actually hitting the Chicago area is basically just in Chicago, because the suburbs are a totally different animal. But in the city, yeah, I mean, my friends and family that live down there are seeing kind of the same thing you're saying. I mean, they're seeing the population, at least around them, slowly decrease. Home values are coming down and properties are sitting on the market for hundreds of days, which we typically don't see.
Yeah, completely inverse than COVID. It used to be that ranch house in Hoffman Estates for 200,000 would sit on the market 100, 200 days. And then, a condo in the South Loop is sold in hours.
Yeah.
Completely inverse now. Now that condo in the South Loop is sitting for 400 days and the ranch home in the city the ranch home in the burbs is multiple offers immediately.
Yeah.
So those city condos are sitting, the burbs are hot. But that's where we're hoping you guys find opportunities. So with the city being so low, it's a great opportunity to get in as a first-time buyer. The city has the amazing energy. It has the music. It has the restaurants. I definitely think it's got to come back. I mean, if you look at other large cities around the U.S., it is just priced so low and so affordable that it really makes sense to get in on it with some of the new projects going in. I know there's a $800 million plus project for the Chicago Fire Stadium north of Chinatown. If you guys want info on that, reach out to me directly. I've got all the info, traffic patterns, graphics. That stadium is going to be incredible, and that'll be South Loop, North Chinatown. That is going to completely change the landscape of the city. And there's properties you can buy close to that stadium quickly that'll increase in value.
We got a question coming over here.
I got a question asking what effect is if the Bears move to Arlington Heights, what is going to be the effect on the real estate?
Good question.
All right, Bo's our sports guy.
Yeah, and I wrote an article on this already a couple weeks ago too.
Substack, right?
Yeah. So
plug your Substack. There you go.
Yeah, we'll add that into here. But if the Bears do move to Arlington, I mean, there's huge implications attached to that you can dive into just taxes, infrastructure, but property values themselves. I mean, they already kind of started to price in the effect when that deal came through when they bought the land from Churchill Downs. So you definitely saw an increase in property value just in land alone, not to mention all the existing homes. But taxes will increase and should increase because they have to pay for all the infrastructure. You're seeing property values increase, but you're also seeing a large demand of outside investors and outside people trying to get into the area, either for Airbnbs, to rent out the home in general, or just move their family because they know being within a mile, 2 miles of an arena and sports complex brings in so much revenue.
Yeah, and on top of that, that was perfect, but it's 300 plus acres. So on top of that stadium, just imagine all the restaurants, the commercial uses, the shopping, the entertainment. It is going to be all out. From the designs I've seen, it'll be one of the world's best arenas ever built. They have the land to do it. Everything too along the Metro is going to increase in value. The Metro goes right to that stadium. So yes, we're going to have an increase right there. Arlington Heights, Palatine, Mount Prospect, Des Plaines, everything close by, but it's going to go all the way west, all along the train line, Cary, Crystal Lake, all the way out to Woodstock. We're going to see it. And what it's going to do is by putting that more central in the suburbs, we'll have people from Wisconsin who can easily get in, and people from the suburbs and people from all around are going to come into it. But I think we're going to have an effect of price value for, I'd say like a 20, 30 mile radius will all be affected by it. And especially anything along that train line is going to shoot up in value like crazy. And people have already speculated. I mean, when we were at the Sarah Leonard team, someone bought every single piece of land in Arlington Heights, usable or unusable, speculating on the Bears. That's the thing, though. Everyone's speculating. That's why the prices have shot up. Once those permits are agreed upon and those foundations are about to go in, the speculation's over. It's actually happening. I think prices could still go up another $200,000 per property,
At least.
if not more.
Yeah, I mean, if everything comes to fruition and they do that, I mean, the light at the end of the tunnel is kind of endless for Arlington Heights, even the surrounding areas, like you said.
And us as realtors, we're going to do well. It's going to put us on the map. It's going to put the Chicago suburbs on the map. We've been undervalued for so long. Like if you look at suburbs around Denver, prices are crazy. Suburbs around New York, prices are crazy. Even suburbs around like Philadelphia, prices are crazy. If we can get that Bear Stadium in here, prices are actually going to start lining up with what they are in other metros around large cities. Because right now, even though people say it's priced too high, looking nationally, we're still underpriced. So by having that stadium and that development, it is going to make prices get out of hand. And that's where, I mean, we'll see a lot of institutional investors come in. We'll see,
thousands of them.
People really hedging their bets on it. But once plans are actually approved, it's going to change the landscape of Arlington Heights. And it's going to change the landscape of the suburbs.
Bears.
It's going to be incredible.
I mean, it opens so many doors.
Yeah, and they're not a sellable team right now, right? They rent their stadium. They can't sell it. If they have their actual stadium, they're a sellable team.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I dove into too for my article is how they can change the landscape of their family owning the team in general. And there's just so
Sorry
many
to cut in. We got another question coming on, Josh.
Another question asking, is now a good time to move?
Yeah, now's a great time to move. The spring market came early. There's new inventory that's on the market. And right now, you can find stuff that was on the market last year. Maybe they listed October, November, December, just got wrecked throughout the holidays, didn't get a lot of activity. It's a vacant house. Those sellers are really desperate right now and would accept, a low ball offer. So that's good. You have that old inventory. But with that, we have a lot of new inventory hitting the market. Anything new that's priced well, we're seeing multiple offers on. But right now, we're seeing at 3 to 5 offers on it. Because it's first week of February here. What's today? February of 2026? You wait till March or April, instead of 5 competing offers, you're gonna have 20. So there's a lot out there. It's relatively well priced. There's gonna be some competition, but it's not gonna be crazy. So the best time to buy is always Q4 or the beginning of Q1. Which we've just missed out on Q4 pricing, but now we're in the beginning of Q1 pricing. And market, you're going to do well as a buyer now, opposed to waiting a couple months. If you wait a couple months, you're going to probably pay an extra $20,000 for that house than what you'd pay for it today. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
And that's even with the couple of the clients that I met with yesterday who were in the position to sell their place and get a new home. And we kind of went through the numbers and they talked with loan officer about if they're able to purchase before selling, because this is a better time for them to buy and then they can capitalize selling in the spring market. So we're just trying to beat that rush because almost, every year that's kind of what you see. So there's definitely a good time to buy any point of the year, but in terms of 2026, unless you can wait until the winter of this year, this is going to be your best time.
This will be the best time. Yeah, it's now. And if you don't buy now in the beginning of February, it's going to get crazy. And then the next best time to buy after now, I'd say it's like end of August when school starts. So if you're looking for home ownership this year, jump on it now, reach out to us. I'm telling all my buyers this. And then when those same buyers are like, hey, Jeff, I'm going to wait a couple months. And then I show them houses and everything's 20 offers, multiple offers in 2 days. And they're losing their mind. I'd be like, hey, remember that conversation we had in January when I said buy now before the market each house has a line out the door. Let's save this clip for that. Buy now in February. Because when you're trying to buy May, June, July, it is going to be nuts. And I'll probably tell you at that point as a buyer just to wait until it cools down in August and September.
Yeah, because even now in February, there are listings that have been sitting through the winter. So with the influx of new homes actually coming to the market, those are getting pushed down even further. So like you were saying, you actually have a chance to still lowball people or come in at a more realistic number because they're getting pushed down the list by all these new listings.
And the other thing you have right now as a buyer is you can still negotiate on inspections. If there's 20 offers coming in and you do an inspection and it's not great, you honestly can't really ask for anything. But if you're the only offer on a property, you have an inspection with some issues, I can normally get you some credit. I can normally get those issues fixed. Sellers are more willing to fix that when you're the only offer, but when they have 20 on the table, they'll say, hey, get lost. We'll go with somebody else. So for all around having a good buyer experience, it was fourth quarter, but the best time is now before it really, when do you see it really pick up? Some people say Super Bowl, some people say Valentine's Day.
Yeah, the running punchline is the Super Bowl. I mean,
And that's Sunday.
Yeah, which is this week. But from what I've seen, even the past 2-3 weeks, it's already here.
Got another question coming in?
Another person asked, how do you approach finding the right real estate agent for you?
Right real estate agent for you. First thing, please, everybody do this. Google your realtor. So, I mean, when you find the right one, you search, say when you want to buy a house in Algonquin, you type in realtors in Algonquin. I'll pop up at the top because I have a lot of Google reviews that are positive. I have a lot of Zillow reviews that are positive. So I'll pop up at the top, call me, interview me, read through the reviews, make sure they're good. The biggest problem is getting hooked with a bad realtor. And the reason you get hooked with a bad realtor is you just didn't do your homework. Maybe your realtor reached out to you, you got something in the mail, you got an ad, and then you want them to help you buy a house. Well, any realtor, before you go out with them, Google them, look them up, make sure they're good. 75% of realtors did not sell even one house last year.
It's nuts.
We sold enough. We're above the top 1% here at the JP Group. We're boots on the ground, offers and listings every single day. But what people have to do is do your homework on your salesperson. Make sure they're good. Make sure they've done other deals. Even as us as realtors, I will look up other realtors when they put offers in on my listings to make sure they're good to work with. Like I just had a nightmare deal. We put an offer in, got it accepted for one of my buyers. The listing agent had no idea what they were doing. The whole thing fell apart. I looked up the listing agent. They've done 2 sales in the last 4 years. That's going to be a headache for everyone. So you really got to make sure everyone is professional. And when you Google your agent and they don't have a lot of info online, don't work with them. I hate to say it, but you're going to have a bad time, especially with this market. When there are 20 offers, you need someone who's been through a market like this multiple times to tell you how to win and tell you how to do it right. Because it's the worst when you see someone get hooked up with a bad realtor, to buy or sell. It makes us actual professionals be like, ooh, I'm sorry you got such a bad deal just because your realtor is not great. Yeah. But I don't want to hate on anybody. All realtors can have a bad day and have a good day.
Easily, yeah.
But looking at sales record and transactions is the best way to find out a good realtor and to find your realtor. If they have a good social presence. But honestly, type their name and then type Zillow after, and that'll tell you. Or type their name and type homes.com after, and that'll tell you how many deals they've done, and you'll be able to see their reviews. But what would you give people advice on how to find their realtor?
I mean, going off that too, kind of like working with anyone or partnering with anyone, you want to make sure you're compatible. You want to make sure that you respect them, they respect you, and that you guys kind of have, similar vibes or similar energy in the sense of it's not just a grueling process to go find a house and get under contract. It's somewhat enjoyable. So I think that's a huge thing because someone can be, top 1%.
And you never hear from them or never see them.
Yeah, and if they're horrible to work with, it's still a bad experience. So I think being able to connect, have a great experience is a huge part of it too. Yeah,
and getting a realtor, once again, who's good, but also has time to answer your calls. Say you reach out to your realtor to see houses and they're like, oh, I'm busy, I can't. That's no one you can work with. Here at the JP Group, we have multiple team members. Say you want to see a house with me and I'm booked up, I'll reach out to my team. Someone will be able to show you that house. We make sure someone's available literally 24/7, 9 a.m. till 9 at night. You'll be able to get in and see that home, and you'll actually have a person that you can call and talk to. So that's a red flag. When you can't get a hold of your realtor, the response time's not great. You look them up. They don't have many reviews. They don't have an online presence. It's easy to get hooked up with the wrong realtor because there are so many of them. And honestly, they just need to make the education portion harder. Anybody can sign up and get a real estate license in 2 months. They need to make that more difficult so that you aren't getting stuck with a bad realtor. We want it to be more difficult so that the barrier to entry is higher and you can get a better realtor like us. Yeah, Another question, Josh. All right, keep them coming.
So
this coming through TikTok?
Yeah.
All right.
You got someone that is going to be selling their home, and they're asking how do they approach getting max value? What can they do? What are some tips for maximizing value when selling?
Start us off.
Well, there's a few things you can do. Timing is definitely one of the biggest because if you're listing around the holiday or say you list on the Super Bowl, you're not going to have as many eyes on your property. So timing's huge. Getting your home in decent shape at a minimum. You see a lot of times people will just take pictures of cluttered rooms on their iPhone camera and think that that's okay or justifiable, when at the bare minimum, clean your space, get professional photos,
Clean it up.
yeah, professional videos, make it look good. And then there's a lot of other things that we do too, but that's just,
Yeah, so the other things we do on top of timing, everyone's going to do professional photos. So we obviously are doing professional photos, but on top of that, we're doing professional videos. We're timing it to list at the exact right day and time. And on top of that, we're not just putting the home on the market and hoping people come by. We're putting it on the market. We're boosting it on every website, and then we're hosting open houses. We're putting out hundreds of signs. But that listing, it's pay to play. So we're paying a bunch of money for Zillow, a bunch of money for Homes.com, Realtor.com, Instagram, Facebook, SEO, Google search. Like, your home, when we list it, is going to be boosted on all these platforms. Plus, everyone's going to see the videos. They're going to see the pictures. They're going to see the sign. They're going to see the open house signs. And we're going to maximize the exposure of your home. So on top of you getting your home cleaned up enough for our photos, it really just comes down to our marketing, and we have it down to a science where, well, we broke records in 5 or 6 neighborhoods this year,
least, yeah.
where we've broken records now. Now other owners will call us and be like, hey, you sold this house $50,000 then higher than any house has ever sold for. Do it for me. So you did one in Schaumburg.
Yeah.
It was a $320,000 neighborhood. What do you sell it for?
$385,000 townhome neighborhood, and we sold it for $375,000.
And then after you sold that for $375,000, someone reached out to me, hey, you broke a new record, do it for me. Sold that one for $378,000, I think. So that whole neighborhood we took from $320,000, $330,000 up to $375,000. Same thing with this neighborhood in Cary. It was a $500,000 neighborhood that we brought up to $575,000. So our marketing will sell your house way higher than it should, just because it's the best. But also, you have to, like you said, clean it up. Make sure it looks good.
The effort that we put in too is huge. Like you said, the open houses, the calling other brokers, to actually having boots on the ground.
The tens of thousands of dollars of marketing. We do a lot of stuff other agents can't because our budget is so high. Other agents would take on my budget and be bankrupt in a couple of days, bankrupt in a couple of weeks. I do it because it's good for you. I'm not making a ton of money, but I want everyone else to make a ton of money. So I want all my sellers to get like record prices, and it just comes down to marketing, getting home in front of people. And we have a game plan that works. You want to hear about it? Give us a call. I don't want to give away all our secrets on here, but
yeah, I mean, it all at the end of the day, money spent, work done, it all ties into just giving the best customer service.
Exactly.
And that's what we do. So
answer the phone, answer the text, market the property, communicate very, very well. There's not like one thing we can say, hey, this is how I can get you the most amount for your home. There's a lot of things. It's a huge spider web, and we connect them all together. Yeah. So that's good.
Okay.
Another question here?
We're all familiar with this 20% down myth. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the 20% down myth. 20% down, you don't have any PMI. It's not a risky loan, but 20% down is not what you need to buy. To buy your home at Trinity, one of our team members, I connected her with a home. At closing, she got a check back. So not only did she pay no money, she got paid to close on a house. Because I maximized her closing cost credits of like $10,000. I think she was doing like 2 or 3% down. It was an off-market home I brought her. So we put all the best terms in. So some of my clients who are looking for a rental, they don't have first month's rent and security deposit to pay for that rental. So I'm like, your credit's good enough. Let's buy a house. And sometimes like we can get people's out of pocket to be like $1,000 to $3,000 out of pocket, which 20% down might be $100,000 out of pocket. So people think you have to have a lot of down payment, and you don't. But what have you done recently where you've had people pay much?
I've seen kind of all ends of that. I've had people that do FHA and do 3.5 down. And then you can get first time homebuyer grants and programs that really eliminate any closing costs too. So you're walking away with, like you said, a couple thousand out of pocket. I'd say a lot that I saw the past year was around 5% down. Especially a few of my clients that work in finance, they did the math, and a couple $100 in PMI a month, that extra 15% they're not putting on their down payment, they put it into stocks and investments.
Yeah.
So for the short term, they're making more money than living in that house for a year. So it kind of
Yeah,
Like,
if your
there's
interest rate's 6, but you're making 10 in the market, then don't put it in. Also, it's the equity buildup. Say like you are saving as hard as you can for that 20% down, and it took you 4 extra years to get 20% down, opposed to like 3% down. If you could have bought for that 3% down and just had higher payments for those 4 years, your equity buildup would have been $200,000 on most starter homes. So I tell buyers, if you can buy, because it's just the equity buildup that you're losing out on by waiting to have 20% down is just ridiculous. Put the 3% down, put the almost no money down, and get on the train of equity buildup. And eventually, like, you can cash out, refi, be at that 20%, drop off the PMI. But honestly, if you can just get into the home, get into it. 20% is obviously what all of our parents did and used to be the standard. But right now we're seeing a lot more creative financing.
A lot more.
And if you can get in a home, do it. Just because, like you said, say you buy a house in Arlington Heights, you can only put 3% down. That's better than waiting 5 years to put 20% down when the stadium's already built and that $500,000 house is now $1 million. I'd rather you buy it at 500 with 3% than buy it at $1 million with 20% down. Because if you keep waiting, like, the goal line to what it takes to become an owner in certain neighborhoods becomes just completely unattainable.
Yeah.
And eventually, like, you just won't be able to own if you wait long enough. So do a lower down payment. We can get creative with it, and just make sure you own the home to get on that equity buildup, and then let your money work out, outside of it. Like you said, work in the stock market, making 10 instead of 6% on a mortgage.
Yeah, because even one of those clients, once they hit a certain amount that they were comfortable, then they just rolled it into their principal, and then they wiped out the PMI, and then they were at 20%. So it is very doable, and that's where having good loan officers and stuff on that side of the
good loan officers and good realtors to negotiate that in the deal to make sure you're having a low payment. Another question, Josh.
Last question to close it off here. What would you tell someone if they're debating to go for sale by owner or hire an agent to sell their home?
Well, if you're having thoughts of for sale by owner or using an agent, I mean, there's so many advantages to using an agent. I know it sounds biased because we are agents, but I firsthand in the past month have seen two cases of for sale by owners that, one, don't know what the hell they're doing.
They don't. It's unfortunate.
Their price is about $80,000 too low, with no marketing, not even on Facebook, not on Zillow, just a sign in their yard that says for sale by owner. So already they're eliminating at least $50,000 out of their pocket.
Yeah.
Two, even trying to do business and talk with a lot of them more times than not can be very stressful because they end up leaning on the agent for the help when they're not working with the agent. So it becomes, one, conflict of interest, two, a huge headache, and three, they're leaving so much money on the table that it would be in their best interest to work with an agent. Doesn't have to be us, but an agent in general who, one, can bring value to them.
Exactly. And just like searchability, if you're for sale by owner, you're not on the MLS, you're not in spots that we can put your home. Like, your home syndicates to hundreds of websites when we list it for you, so everyone sees it. If you just stick a sign in your yard, post some photos, it's just sad to see. I mean, I'll see someone post it on Facebook. The photos are terrible. The price is $400,000 when I literally could get $550,000 for it. And going for sale by owner, I mean, do it. I mean, if you want to be like, yeah, I sold my home myself, like, do it. It's going to take a lot longer. It's going to be a headache. You're going to get a lot less money. Just like, I mean, go sell your car. Like, I mean, people take it to dealerships to sell it because it's easy and done right. Maybe you make a little bit more if you sell it yourself, but at the end of the day, I'd rather take my car and sell it to a dealership than try to sell it myself. But your house is your biggest asset that most people have. So, like, do you want to handle your largest asset improperly, or do you want it done correctly? And we are a very, very small fee. Our small fee will make you $100,000 more than you'd make by selling it on your own. So we're going to close out after this question. Anything else you want to add to that, Bo?
No, I think kind of what you were saying based off that. I mean, for 2.5% for what we would charge a seller, you're going to give up 50, 60,000 of equity.
Exactly. And there'll be no headaches. It'll be simple. It'll be smooth. It'll be easy. But you know what? Try it if you want to. Try for sale by owner for a couple months, and then give us a call and we'll do it the right way. Or if you want to just skip the headache, call us first. If it doesn't work with us, then try for sale by owner. But for sale by owner, I wouldn't do it myself. I don't know anyone who has done it and really, like, enjoyed it. especially as our market is getting more and more dynamic.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining us here. I'm Jeff with the JP Group. We got Bo with our first podcast here. Hope you guys liked it. We'll come at you with more topics and more awesome investing insights in the Chicago suburbs.